So let's go live here. That's Sunday afternoon. This is May 25th at 4:51. And I thought we would go live just to discuss the weather situation occurring up in the northeastern part of the state, where we have a couple of tornado warnings issued for this line of storms that is lined up from near Bridgeport to Scottsboro in Jackson County. This is to the east of Huntsville. And you can see that the Weather Service, first off, has a large, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the line. And also, we've got a couple of tornado warnings in effect for the line. And understand, if there are any tornadoes within the line, these are very brief, quick, spin-up tornadoes. We're live at 4:52, and quite frankly, we just really don't see a well-defined tornado signature here. The main concern, it's strong straight-line winds, and that certainly is an issue. But having said that, as we always say, respect the polygon, and for a lot of you, your warning devices are sounding, or they have sounded, for parts of Jackson and DeKalb counties in northeast Alabama. And we have a couple of different tornado warnings. This is the first one, and this is the second one. We have the northern warning that includes Bridgeport down towards Shiloh. This is for the far northeastern corner of Jackson County. And the newer one is farther to the south, and this includes a pretty good chunk of DeKalb County, and this does include Fort Payne, Valley Head, and Mentone. And again, it's for the obvious line of storms that you see here. And again, as we speak, there's just not a well-defined tornado circulation here. And from time to time, we've seen these small, brief little rotation signatures on radar. They come and they go. And again, it's almost like playing whack-a-mole when you deal with these things. There's a look at the animation, and you can see the wind velocity field coming down into Jackson and DeKalb counties along the line. And the straight line winds in some spots could gust to 50 miles an hour. Really, the stronger wind velocities throughout this line, it's been up in Tennessee, but they're pretty strong, and they could be enough in some cases to knock down trees and power lines. So again, the main concern for those of you in places like Valley Head, Mentone, Fort Payne, Rainsville, Henniger, Pisgah, straight line winds, strong straight line winds. And this won't last long. This line is moving very quickly, and that will be in Georgia fairly soon. But I thought we'd just kind of sit here while we've got these tornado warnings in effect and handle these for you. And we'll take a look at a big picture here in just a second. So again, we have a line of storms with potential for strong straight line winds, stretching from Jackson County down into parts of DeKalb County. And again, you can see within the line occasional little notches and kinks and hooks in here. And again, you can try and read into that maybe the possibility of a brief spin-up tornado. In a situation like this, if you get one, they're going to be very brief. They're down for a couple of minutes, and they go right back up. And again, it's always a big question within the weather enterprise. Do you try and catch these things? Because by the time a warning goes out, they're gone. And it's really, in a way, beyond the physical science knowledge we have now to do this sometimes. But again, every Weather Service office has a different culture, and the Weather Service in Huntsville just believed that in this case, the best thing to do is to issue tornado warnings. So again, if you're just joining us, I'll show the rest of the state in just a second and talk about what's to come tonight and tomorrow. But again, we have a line of strong storms up here in northeast Alabama. And within the line, we could see some fairly strong winds. Possibly enough in some cases to knock down trees and power lines. And again, that line, it will be approaching Interstate 59 in about 15 to 20 minutes, let's say about 4:10 to 4:15, maybe 4:20 of Fort Payne, Valley Head, Mentone. It'll be coming up into Rainsville, Henniger, Ider in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And again, if you're obviously in the path of this, you can see the shelf cloud on the leading edge of these things, and you'll see the strong winds out ahead of that along the gust front. And again, it's certainly not a real classic tornado setup here. But again, having said that, since the warnings are in effect, we thought we'd just come on the air and stay with you for a little bit. Let's go to the big picture. And you can see that really for most of Alabama, this has been a nice day today. We've got a few spotty showers over East Alabama, but that's about it. Much of the state totally rain-free today. It's been a nice day. We do note additional storms are forming over northeastern Mississippi. And again, these storms are packing a punch. Severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued. In fact, there's a pretty strong storm that is just to the northwest of Fulton, Mississippi. And that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for parts of Itawamba and Lee counties up in northeastern Mississippi until 5:30 this afternoon. And we'll keep an eye on those because those are going to be crossing into northwest Alabama later this evening, and you can see additional strong storms over Mississippi. So over the next 5 to 10 hours, we're going to see a number of strong storms coming in from the west. But again, the reason we are here, we're focused on the northeastern part of the state. And I know that we've got tornado warnings in effect here, and I know that typically I can call out a barbecue joint, a Walmart, a barn, and but in this case, you just can't do that. There's just no well-defined circulation along the line. This is for the possibility of maybe a brief isolated spin-up tornado in through here. So just, again, we're going to stay with this as long as these tornado warnings are currently in effect. And again, this is for the extreme eastern part of Jackson County, and then the northern two-thirds of DeKalb County. And again, we're looking at velocity here. And again, if we're going to see a brief isolated tornado, that's going to be the best place to see that, not the reflectivity, but the velocity product. Tell you what, let me quickly come over here and pull this in so I can see some of the images from you this afternoon. And again, as always, we thank everybody for the images. It is very helpful. And while you're looking at the radar, I'm looking at some of the images that we have here. And I'll drop some of these in. We can look at this together. Again, it's about 5 o'clock, and if you're just joining us, we are here since the Weather Service in Huntsville has decided to issue a couple of tornado warnings up in northeast Alabama. We're having a really hard time finding a well-defined spot within that line. And what they are doing, they're trying to catch these little brief isolated spin-up tornadoes that might form ahead of that. And the line is coming through extreme eastern Jackson County in northeast Alabama and the northern part of DeKalb County in northeast Alabama. And again, we're getting all kind of video like this. This is a look at the storms coming through Scottsboro. That's the sky that's over Scottsboro. And on the base of these storms, these ragged cloud bases, occasionally you'll see these wind eddies, and they'll produce these twisting-like features like that. And again, that's up in Jackson County. That was at Scottsboro very recently. Thanks to Emily Dearman for sending that in. And again, we'll drop some other video from you in here, and that, quite frankly, in a situation like this, the video that we see from you is probably the most helpful thing we can receive here. Here's another video from Scottsboro. We'll take a look at this together. And again, we'll kind of see this all at the same time. This video was over Scottsboro about 10, 15 minutes ago as the storm was coming overhead. Again, I'm watching the various chat sessions we have with Weather Service offices and our team of Skywatchers across the state. But again, this is a look right into these storms up in Jackson County and Scottsboro. We've heard of no specific reports of any damage at this point. And no specific reports of any confirmed tornado. We have no debris signature on radar, nothing like that. So let's go back to the radar, kind of do a reset here. Again, we are live at 5:01 on Sunday afternoon. And we're watching a strong line of storms coming through northeast Alabama. And again, Let's put on the reflectivity, which will kind of give a good idea of the leading edge of the storms there. The leading edge is coming down into Ider, Henniger, Sylvania, approaching Rainsville. The line is around Section. It's come on through Scottsboro. And again, we have a small tornado warning that's in effect up here for the extreme eastern tip of Jackson County, and then this warning down here for parts of DeKalb County. And again, if you're in Fort Payne, you're hearing the various warning devices going off, your weather radio. Preferably, that's your primary way of getting warnings. Of course, your phone alerts and other things like that. And again, want to stress that if you are in DeKalb County, this warning does not include Crossville or Collinsville. This is all far north of there. It does not include Geraldine, does not include Fife. This is the southern edge of the tornado warning polygon right here. It does include Rainsville, Fort Payne, and points north for that line that is coming through. And again, it's going to be windy. The greatest concern is it's going to be strong straight line winds, and there might be a few cases in here where the winds might gust to 50 miles per hour as the storms pass on through here. So again, we're going to ride through this together. We'll ride with this until the storms get over into Georgia. But if you're just joining us, we have a line of strong to severe storms pushing through the northeastern corner of the state. And from time to time, there's been evidence of maybe a brief little isolated spin-up tornado. And like we've talked about, if there is one, they are very brief, short-lived, and they're going to be very small. This is not a tornado kind of day. The greatest concern, it is from straight-line winds. And again, you're going to see all kind of creepy clouds. You're going to see shelf clouds. You'll see a lot of scud. Things that are not related to tornadoes. With all strong storms, they almost always have a shelf cloud on the leading edge that can look very ominous. But again, looking through all of the social media reports, we're seeing no evidence of tornadoes. Again, we're watching everything coming in. We are so thankful for the photographs. This is going to be a still image coming in from Grant within that line right here, and that's what it's looking like. And again, when it came over Scottsboro, the sky looked like this, Scottsboro and Jackson County a little earlier this afternoon. And again, on the ragged cloud bases, occasionally you'll see these little wind eddies that can form, creating some pretty cool-looking twisting type formations there, but no evidence of any tornado in any of these videos we have seen so far. And again, the greatest concern, it's strong winds. Strong winds could easily be enough in a few cases to knock down a couple of trees and power lines. But even with that, I've not heard of that many reports of trees down with this line. The stronger wind velocities have really been up in Tennessee. But let's flip back over to the velocity display. And again, this is in real time. And again, you can see right in through here, kind of along the leading edge of this thing, potential for some pretty strong winds. And again, they could possibly gust up to maybe 50 miles an hour in spots. And these are wind velocities. Just there's a 51.4. But remember, that's at the radar beam height, which is 1,600 feet off the ground at that point, coming from High Top up in northern Jackson County. So it's not right at the surface. But when you see wind velocities, the 40, 50 mile per hour bracket at beam height here in this case, you'll get 40, 45, maybe 50 mile per hour gusts down at the surface. And a 40, 50 mile per hour gust could be enough to knock down some trees and power lines in some cases. So, and again, the line of storms will be coming into Interstate 59. That would be Valley Head down to Fort Payne, about 5:20 or so this afternoon. And from there, of course, they'll sweep rapidly over into Georgia. But I can just tell you that at the moment, there's no evidence of a tornado on radar here. No strong evidence, I'll put it that way. And again, we're watching all of the various videos that are coming in from up in the valley. In fact, here's a shot that's going to be coming in from Rainsville. We'll drop this in. You can look at it together. And again, this is a very common sky scene in this line. That's a shelf cloud at Rainsville, which is in DeKalb County. And again, there's shelf cloud is on the leading edge of a storm. It doesn't have anything to do with a wall cloud or a tornado. That would be in the back. In fact, I probably need to post our latest spotter training video up. I think if you just went through a little bit of basic spotter training, you'd never look at a storm the same again. You'd understand the difference between wall clouds, shelf clouds, rear flank downdrafts, all scud, all of these things that people see. And a lot of times people report things as a tornado. They're not. They don't mean any harm. They just don't know any better. And again, a little basic spotter training is a good thing, especially if you're interested in weather. And again, watching the various chat items coming in here, still no evidence of any tornado damage. Again, mainly it's just a lot of creepy-looking clouds. And let's see here. You might lose the radar for just a second, but let me show a quick image here. This is going to be coming in between Rosalie and Flat Rock. Again, this is that image here. And again, that's a rain shaft, and often a rain shaft can look like a tornado. People that aren't necessarily trained in weather, you think, ooh, that might be a big tornado, and that's not. That's just a rain shaft. And again, that's you can see the leading edge of that, which is a shelf cloud. Back behind that big curtain of rain that's falling, that heavy curtain of rain within the line. But again, that was taken by Rhonda Smith between Rosalie and Flat Rock about 5 minutes ago. And again, these are all these images are very, very helpful to us, and that we can kind of see things in real time. We can have the most dense camera network in the world, but we can't have cameras everywhere, and everybody has a phone, and those are very helpful. So again, if you're just joining us here, it's 5:08, and this is James Spann, and I'm live since we have a couple of tornado warnings that have been issued for extreme northeast Alabama. And this is for extreme. In fact, we can almost, let's tell you what, let's look at the reflectivity here. And we're almost ready to give an all clear to Jackson County. We can do that in about 1 minute. It's still raining in parts of Jackson County, section back up toward Pisgah, but again, Scottsboro, Stevenson, Bridgeport, all of this is out of your neck of the woods now. You're good. But we have two tornado warnings that the Weather Service in Huntsville issued. This is the northern one, and this is the southern one. The northern one's going to go away here in a few minutes as that line moves into Georgia. And again, you can see the southern tornado warning includes Mentone, Valley Head, Fort Payne, Rainsville, Sylvania, Henniger, places like that, Eider. And this is for a line of storms that is passing through. And the storms, the main concern, it's strong straight line winds. That's the primary concern here. And again, the Weather Service in Huntsville, they saw a couple of quick little circulations, and they issued these tornado warnings. And if we do have any tornadoes within that line, they are going to be very, very short-lived. Again, excuse me 1 second here. I'm going to bring in another video. And we'll take a look at this one together as well. And again, your videos and images are very helpful. Like I say, we can't show them all, but we see them all in real time, and they are extremely helpful. And again, this is more video within the line, and this is just very common. This is what people are seeing. And again, you've got some ragged clouds along the shelf cloud, along the leading edge of this thing. And obviously, it's going to be windy and gusty. We've seen evidence of winds down at the surface of the 35, 40 mile per hour bracket. But again, the good news through all of our sky watchers and through the Weather Service chat sessions and everything else, I've not seen any reports of any damage along these storms today. And we certainly hope that is the case. And let's see here, do a couple of things real quick. And again, getting the location on this, this is Powell's Crossroads. This is in DeKalb County along the line. So let's go back to the radar. All right, so we are live at 5:11. And we have a line of strong storms passing through northeast Alabama. And the line segment will be in Georgia soon. And right now we can pretty much give an all clear to Jackson County. If you're in Jackson County, all clear. You're good. You are done with this line. And you might see more storms tonight, but in terms of this line, you're done. We still have a couple of tornado warnings. This northern one is for the northern tip of DeKalb County, and then the southern one is for parts of central DeKalb County for the line itself. And again, that's the reflectivity. If we go back down to velocity, again, it's just not showing any evidence of tornadoes in through here. And often when you see a tornado warning, I'm able to come on here and I can pick out somebody's barn, a Dollar General, a Walmart, a barbecue joint. But in this case, we're just not seeing any strong evidence in through here for right now. So that's a good thing. And again, the main concern would be strong straight line winds. We'll take a look at some of the actual measurements coming in off the radar beam. And you can see there's a 50.3 coming in toward Mentone and Lookout Mountain. There's a 50, 51. And this is at 2,000 feet off the ground. Remember, the radar beam goes in a straight line. The Earth curves. And accordingly, you're not going to see those wind velocities typically down at the surface. They won't be quite that strong. So a 51 mile per hour wind at 2,000 feet, that would be closer to 40 miles per hour or so down at the surface. And again, we do note the Weather Service has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and I think that's probably the main message we need to communicate here. This is for parts of Jackson and DeKalb counties until 5:45. For the line of storms that might produce a severe wind gust. And by definition, a severe wind gust is 58 miles per hour. And again, it might be enough in some cases to knock down trees and power lines. So again, within the line itself, a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now. And again, that really the core of this will be really a little north of Fort Payne. Again, we'll animate that. You can see the line coming through the northeastern part of the state. And it will be sweeping into Georgia relatively soon. And again, we'll talk more about the weather tomorrow here in just a second. And what you might expect on Memorial Day. A lot of folks are off the grid. I was actually down in the coastal waters south of Gulf Shores yesterday. Was shooting some video there. Had a chance to go out in a little fishing expedition, which I don't get to do very often, but we shot some great video and had a really good time. And goodness, the crowds were just great. The big crowds, yes, but they were well behaved. Everybody was having a good time. The weather was great. There were a few little spotty storms around, but it was just a great day. But again, let's get back on topic here. We're watching a line of strong, possibly severe storms pushing through northeast Alabama. The core of the storms are along Interstate 59 now up here, down to about Valley Head, and then back over toward Rainsville. And again, those storms will be sweeping through Fort Payne here soon. Really, the heavier core is north of Fort Payne in terms of rain and velocity. Not heard any reports of hail from this. There's no really evidence of hail. There might be a little small hail in a few spots, but again, if there's any hail, it would be very small. Again, the concern here, it's not from hail. Remember, two things make a storm severe. Only two. That would be large hail, 1 inch in diameter or larger, and we don't have that in this case. And the only other way a storm can be severe, it's high wind, and that's the concern with these storms, 58 miles per hour or greater. That's the severe criteria. And again, you can see the, in fact, we'll put back on the velocity since this really tells a little better story in this case. And those higher velocities are, again, right on top of Lookout Mountain here, north of Mentone, up toward the Georgia state line, where, let's see, I'm seeing a 55 mile per hour wind velocity here, and that's at 2,100 feet. And again, down at the surface, that could be 40, 45, maybe up to 50 miles an hour, especially up on, and understand, let me put in a caveat here. Lookout Mountain, what is 15, 16, 1,700 feet up in there. So if you're on top of the mountain, you might see a 55, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gust here. So again, that's coming right into Lookout Mountain, right up toward Mentone and through here. And those higher velocities are right there. up on the mountain. So again, Mentone up to the Georgia state line. Up on the mountain, you could see winds maybe hitting 60, maybe a tad higher than that. And then down in the valleys, the low terrain, probably winds of 40, 45 miles an hour. And the velocities are not as extreme down here toward Rainsville and Sylvania. Down in this range at the radar beam height, they're 30, 35 miles an hour. So down at the surface, winds are probably 25 to 30 miles an hour. But again, those higher velocities up and through here are basically on top of Lookout Mountain, and that certainly could be enough to knock down some trees up here from Mentone north to the Georgia state line up on Lookout Mountain. All right, so take a look at a few more images coming in. And again, if you've missed some of the images, this is what we've seen constantly this afternoon with these storms. These are cloud bases. This was up at Scottsboro earlier when the line came through there a while back. This is a new image just in. This is from a point in DeKalb County close to Rainsville. And again, that's the leading edge of these storms. And, of course, they all feature these what we call CLCs, creepy-looking clouds. That's a shelf cloud, and they're very common in summertime. Almost every summer storm will have a shelf cloud. And again, like we often say here, shelf clouds have nothing to do with tornadoes or wall clouds. A shelf cloud is on the leading edge of a storm. If we have a wall cloud or a tornado, that's going to be around back, on the backside. And again, shelf clouds are very common, and quite frankly, for a lot of storms with shelf clouds, they're just not that bad. All right, got an image coming in a little earlier. This is from Section. Again, the storms are on by Section now. Looks like this is going to be off a security-type camera, and that's a shelf cloud. And again, looking at everything coming in here, we still see no evidence of any tornadoes down, any damage from tornadoes. But the tornado warning, in fact, let's go back to the radar real quick, and it looks like they are going to leave the tornado warning in place for parts of DeKalb County. And again, the warning is set to expire at 5:30, in about 11, 12 minutes from now. And again, we just don't see any evidence of tornadoes involved here. Again, if you've watched me for years and years, you know that during a classic tornado situation, we know it, we see it. We can call out specific landmarks, communities in the path of this, and we can be very specific. But in this case, we just don't see any evidence of a tornado on radar now. And again, from time to time, yes, there have been small, little brief circulations. And again, it's somewhat of a debate within the weather enterprise. Do you try and catch these things for a tornado that might be down for 1 minute? Of course, by the time a warning goes out, it's gone. And the worst thing you can do is run up your false alarm ratio, where you run into just constant false alarms, and then, of course, that's crying wolf, and nobody pays attention. It's a debate, and it's something we need to work out within the weather enterprise. But there's just some things we can do, and there's some things we cannot do. And issuing warnings for these little brief spin-up tornadoes, it's a challenge. So again, thanks for bearing with us here. And a lot of you folks are traveling, and you're on the road, or you're out of place trying to figure out what's going on back home. So many folks are out of town this holiday weekend. The reason I'm here, we've had a couple of tornado warnings for extreme northeast Alabama, parts of Jackson and DeKalb counties, and I just want to let everybody to know we've had no reports of any structural damage, and quite frankly, I've not seen any, not even a decent tree that's been blown down from these things so far. I would imagine we have some trees that are blown down. We just don't know about them yet. The higher wind velocities are on top of Lookout Mountain around Mentone here. And again, up on the mountain, we could easily see winds maybe gusting to 50, 60 miles an hour. I don't think the winds are that strong down in the low terrain. But again, the higher wind velocities are Lookout Mountain, basically from Mentone north. The wind velocities down here in the line of storms that's coming through Rainsville, much lower. Again, this is suggesting winds at the surface may be gusting to 30, 35. And that's what's going to be coming through Fort Payne. We just don't see any strong evidence of extremely high winds, which is a good thing. But again, this tornado warning goes away in 10 minutes. I'm seeing a few reports of trees down up in Tennessee. For example, in Franklin County, Tennessee, not Franklin County, Alabama, Franklin County, Tennessee. We have a tree down in a house The people got out with minor injuries. This was reported about 4:30 this afternoon, about 1 hour ago. There were some very strong wind velocities up in southern Tennessee, west of Chattanooga. But that was earlier this afternoon. So, again, we are here for a few more minutes, and we have a line of strong storms pushing through northeast Alabama. And again, we still technically have this tornado warning in effect for parts of DeKalb County, but really there's just no evidence of a tornado on radar. Stronger wind velocities up here on Lookout Mountain from Mentone northeast. If you're in Fort Payne, just don't expect any problems down here. All of the main action is north of you. Same thing for Rainsville. And understand everybody's got creepy clouds. Everybody's got some weird-looking shelf clouds, but that's just very common. Almost every summer storm will have weird-looking shelf clouds this time of the year. And just to show you what it looks like, I'll pop in one shot from Fort Payne. And again, all the problems should be north of Fort Payne with really strong wind. That's what it looks like in Fort Payne right now. But again, we've seen images like this from northeast Alabama, these ragged underbellies of shelf clouds. And we often call them CLCs, creepy-looking clouds. But again, just dozens and dozens and dozens of images that have come in here. No evidence of damage or tornadoes so far, and all these images that this one's just coming in. And again, this is a common sight. Everybody's seeing this. But remember, creepy-looking clouds do not make a storm severe. The only thing that can do that, large hail or damaging wind. And again, the greatest wind concern, it's from basically Mentone north. And again, let's put the velocities back on here. And right in through here. Those are the stronger wind velocities within the line. And again, they're 50, 45, 50 miles per hour. See a couple of spots, a little over 50. And again, the radar beam height is 2,500 feet from high top. Remember, as you go farther away from the radar site, the beam gets higher and higher and higher, the radar beam. And again, the surface winds will not be this extreme. However, we have terrain. For those that don't know, we have some pretty decent-sized mountains up in northeast Alabama. Nothing like what you see in western North Carolina, but Alabama's highest mountain is 2,407 feet. That's Mount Cheahaw. But up in this part of the state, Lookout Mountain is up there around 2,000 feet in spots. And again, the radar beam height's 2,500 feet. So we'll probably see some 50, 55 mile per hour gusts up on the mountain here. But those higher velocities are rapidly coming into northwestern Georgia out of northeast Alabama. So let's animate everything here. We'll kind of see the progression of storms coming through. And again, we'll take a look at some more images. Coming in from various parts of North Alabama. And again, they almost all look alike in that we're seeing just a lot of shelf clouds. And here's a good one. This is going to be a shot from Mentone. This is a person that is on the Brow, County Road 89 at Mentone. And if you've never been to Mentone, you really should go sometime. That's a beautiful, beautiful part of Alabama that's on top of Lookout Mountain. All right, that's from the Brow at Mentone. And that is a shelf cloud. That's what shelf clouds look like, leading edge of the storm. Behind it, that big curtain of heavy rain that's coming in. And the tornado warning goes out in 5 minutes, will not be reissued. There's no need for that, which is a good thing. So again, we'll stay with this a little longer. And again, you know the deal. I don't like to sit here and, yak away. We try and only do these lives whenever we need to. And again, if there's a tornado warning somewhere, we like to be live. We like to kind of walk you through this. Not all tornado warnings are the same. And every messaging is going to be a little different for severe weather situations. And we try and do it in a calm, level-headed fashion here. And So again, it's 526. We have a tornado warning that is technically still in effect for DeKalb County, but I can just tell you again that if you're in Fort Payne, the risk of a tornado is very, 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 very low. Rainsville, it's all past you. You have no concern here. In fact, that whole stretch up to Henniger, 5, all of that is well east of you now. So up to Eider, same thing. You're good. No need to do anything. We've got heavy rain falling over northern DeKalb County. And again, that's pouring up at Mentone and Valley Head. And again, you can see the shelf cloud from the brow at Mentone. It was probably taken about 10 minutes ago. And that was taken from Bella Mason. We thank Bella for that. And again, it's going to be pretty windy up on the mountain, no doubt about that. Very, very windy. Show another one here. This is going to be coming in from Rainsville in DeKalb County. This will be, again, pretty good representation of what we have seen through the course of the afternoon. Very turbulent, ominous sky. But again, the good news, I've just not seen of any structural damage. I've seen no evidence of a tornado. And quite frankly, not many issues at all, which is a good thing. So once again, back to the radar. And again, we've got a line of strong storms that will be pushing out of Alabama completely here in the next 15 minutes. It'll be totally out of the state. And again, it will be over into northwestern Georgia. So really, let's look at the rest of the state and maybe talk about what's to come. And again, you can see that we have other scattered showers and storms east of I-65. To parts of St. Clair, Calhoun, Etowah counties. Other showers in parts of Marshall, Morgan counties. All of those are not even close to being severe. And those are moving on to the east. But let's look at what's happening over Mississippi. And you can see we've got a few severe thunderstorm warning polygons in effect here. And these storms forming over Mississippi will be moving into Alabama this evening and tonight. And some of the heavier storms could produce strong gusty winds and small hail. Again, the upper air wind profiles don't favor tornado formation here. We're just not concerned about tornadoes with any storms that come in here this evening and tonight. The main issue will be from small hail and gusty winds. And it's not going to rain hard everywhere. And let's go down south, take a look at what's happening in the southern part of the state. Pretty quiet. Getting a beautiful day for the Alabama Gulf Coast. Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Fort Morgan. Got a few spotty showers over parts of Mobile and Baldwin counties, and the Florida Panhandle looks good. All the way over to Panama City Beach. Been a beautiful day. A lot of folks have been sending in beach photos today. And the southeastern part of the state, looking quiet. Again, got a couple of very small showers over Geneva and Houston counties, and dropping to the south, and that's about it. But again, a pretty good chunk of Alabama with no rain at all today. And that's what we've tried to message for the weekend, is that, yes, you'll have a passing storm from time to time, absolutely, but certainly not raining all day, not raining everywhere. But where the storms do form, they could be strong, and we've had those today. And again, the reason we are here, it's this little line of heavier storms coming through northeast Alabama. And we've had a tornado warning, which is gone. It's 5:30, so there are no tornado warnings anywhere. No tornado warnings, none. We expect no additional tornado warnings. And that line of storms is moving over into northwestern Georgia. It's come on through Chattanooga. And it'll be approaching Interstate 75 in Georgia soon. And again, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of DeKalb County, especially north of Fort Payne. Fort Payne is in the polygon. But again, this is no tornado warning. This is for gusty winds and maybe in spots, especially up on Lookout Mountain, getting up to 50 miles per hour. But the velocities have come way down. And again, the lower elevations, you might see a gust to 30, 35, maybe 40. And the severe thunderstorm warning is going to expire at 5:45 this afternoon. And really, tomorrow, it's the same kind of thing. We just don't see a deal where it rains all day. The sun's going to be out at times. Part of the day will be beautiful. But remember, a storm could come through, and like yesterday and like today, where they pop up, they could be strong. With the main concern coming from strong winds and maybe some small hail. So again, let me look through some more of the images real quick. And again, remember, we see every image, and we are so thankful for them. Your images and your video, it's our window to the world. We can't show them all. Of course, physically, there's no time to do that, but boy, they are great. So this is from Fort Payne right now. And again, that's a shelf cloud. We've seen a whole bunch of shelf cloud pictures, and a shelf cloud is in the leading edge of a storm. Has nothing to do with a tornado, nothing to do with a wall cloud. And not every time you see a shelf cloud doesn't mean a storm is severe. In fact, most of the time they're not. They're just very common in summertime. Quite frankly, as we shift into summer, the biggest issue it's from storms is simply lightning, with everybody being outdoors. And I say this all the time, lightning is frightening, and it's true. And I would suggest with something like this, the greatest concern would be from lightning now. That, again, we're just not seeing any evidence of super strong winds and no evidence of a tornado in through here. The greatest concern for those that are outdoors, of course, would be lightning. And the rule is 8 miles, but the problem is most people don't really have a reliable way of knowing the distance. And I know some apps are pretty good, and you can use the old count the seconds between the lightning and the thunder, but this is all you need to know. When you hear thunder, just get in. It's that easy. When you hear thunder, get in. Car, truck, bus, house, school, church, anything. Just get in. We have tragic lightning deaths that really go underreported because they're not like tornadoes, and that you're not going to have a large number of fatalities in one spot. Typically, it's one at a time, and it just doesn't get a lot of publicity. But I'm afraid of one thing, and it's lightning. That's it. I'm not afraid of tornadoes. We know they're coming and know what to do. Not afraid of hurricanes. We know they're coming. You know how to evacuate and take care of yourself. But one summer storm can crank up thousands of ground strokes, and they can be pretty wicked. So just when you hear thunder, get in. And really and truly, I'm not seeing that much in the way of lightning output. Looking at the lightning output, most of the lightning is over in Georgia at this point. So I would suggest the storms in DeKalb County are subsevere right now, with maybe winds of 30, 35, a little bit of thunder and lightning. But again, just no evidence of any tornadoes. We've heard of no tornadoes. And concerning these warnings, and again, it's a topic we do a show called Weather Brains on Monday nights, and this is for weather dweebs and geeks and nerds and dorks and weenies, people that just love weather, not just hobbyists, but also those in the professional weather enterprise. We need to talk sometimes, and we had a really good show last Monday on the warning process, but one of the great debates is, do you try and catch these little spin-up tornadoes that you think might be there, and they're there for a minute or two and they go back up? And again, it's just a culture difference. You'll see that between different Weather Service offices, and we have to kind of balance that out here with what we do in messaging a consistent message. But again, I've heard of no tornado damage, heard of no tornadoes, no major problems. In fact, I've really not heard of a lot of trees down. And again, we're getting many reports. And almost everything I'm seeing, it's a shelf cloud. I've not even seen any hail images. I don't think we have any hail at all. The reflectivities are not that impressive. Here's another image coming in from Fort Payne. This is from the Walmart in Fort Payne. I've been in that Walmart. Some nice people working there. And again, very turbulent, ominous-looking skies, but a turbulent, creepy-looking sky does not make a storm severe. You got to have large hail or damaging wind. And again, there's just no evidence of that at all at this point. So we'll stick with it for a couple more minutes here. And again, if we need to come back, we'll do that. We're watching a line of heavy showers and some thunder across northeast Alabama. And it prompted a couple of tornado warnings. And that's the reason we kind of kicked in this live here. For parts of Jackson and DeKalb counties, those are totally off the board. There's no tornado warnings anywhere. And we have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of DeKalb County. But again, the storms have weakened and they're sub-severe at this point. So again, there's just no, and again, I know the clouds look weird. I know that with all my heart. We've seen all the images, but again, those storms are sub-severe. And let's go back to the Columbus Air Force Base radar, and this is what's to come next. You can see those scattered storms over Mississippi, and those will be coming into Alabama tonight. And again, you might hear some thunder tonight, late night thunder. And again, the winds could be gusty and there could be some small hail, but we are not concerned about tornadoes tonight or tomorrow or Tuesday. Every day this week, we're going to have the same pattern here. Every day between now and basically Thursday, there's a chance we see a drier air mass sliding in here by Friday and the weekend ahead. But between now and Thursday, we're going to see this from time to time. From time to time, you'll have a passing storm. There's no suggestion anywhere that there's a tornado threat. The wind profiles don't favor that. The concern with these lower end outlooks from SPC, it's for small hail and strong gusty straight line winds. And again, I know it's always kind of uneasy for someone to hear thunder in the middle of the night and wakes them up. And we might have that tonight. And again, we'll watch these things like a hawk. And if there's a reason to be here, we'll come back on here. But again, everything is sub-severe in Alabama at this point, which is a good thing. So let me kind of peruse some of the images real quick. And this will be an image coming in from near Eider. And once again, that's a shelf cloud. Leading edge of a strong storm. And again, we've seen all kind of sky scenes like this across northeast Alabama and the Tennessee Valley. But again, despite the ominous appearance, we've had no issues. And again, that's probably the most ominous photograph we've seen up there, but that's a rain shaft. Oftentimes, a rain shaft like that can look like a tornado. And this is why we really love for people to go through spotter training. And that once you go through spotter training, you'll really start to understand. And in some cases, it can be hard even for a professional. But in many cases, it's easy to identify. Scud, which is harmless. And a lot of people will see these scud clouds and they'll report a tornado. And it makes it a little hard on us in that we have to take a little bit of time we don't have and look at it carefully. But scud clouds are very common. With scud clouds, there is no rotation, no debris. Scud clouds, they're gone in about less than 5 minutes, sometimes less than 1 minute. And again, there's a little bit of scud in that image right there. But again, we've had just all these images coming in here today that look like this across northeast Alabama. But again, no evidence of any damage or any problems at all. And again, this is a great shot. That's taken from the brow at Mentone. That's the shelf cloud coming in from the west. And again, all these heavier storms are shifting quickly into Georgia. And the good news, we just don't have much of anything to report in terms of damage. So we'll wrap this up in just a second. But again, in summary, we have new storms that are forming over Mississippi. And those will be moving into the northern half of Alabama tonight. And again, you might hear some thunder. There might be a little bit of small hail in spots and gusty winds. We note, let's see, how many polygons? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. These are severe thunderstorm warning polygons, not tornado warning polygons. We expect no tornado threat tonight. And again, for northeast Alabama, you can see the showers and thunderstorms in progress there. We got some pretty decent showers down into Etowah County, around Gadsden, into parts of St. Clair and Calhoun counties. And again, even there, you're going to see these creepy-looking clouds, but there's no sign these are severe. And they're rapidly moving off into Georgia. So at this point, we'll kind of wrap this up. And if you're new here, we simulcast this coverage on Facebook and YouTube. And we're glad you're here. We'll do a video tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow, Memorial Day. We'll do a video tomorrow morning. We typically do those weekdays at about 5:15 a.m. and 2:45 p.m. And we do them like this as needed. And if there's a reason to come back, we will come back. But I just don't think we'll have a reason to do any more live updates tonight or tomorrow. But remember, the storms could produce some small hail and gusty winds. So again, we'll plan on the next video briefing here tomorrow morning at the insane hour of 5:15. Thank you for watching. Have a great Sunday evening. Have a great rest of the Memorial Day weekend, and God bless.